Yes, sir. It's finally here. After almost 2 months, it's finally here. Whew, shit. Oh, I'm tired. That box is heavy, man. Dang. It was worth it, though. It was worth it.
Swiss on the beat.
Alright, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy GwoppyTrai back in with another video. And in today's video, this is a very special video that I'm going to be bringing to you guys here on the channel today. Now, I know for like the past month, I haven't been very active in uploading videos and stuff. And that was because that I was busy setting up and breaking in my brand new $1,700 custom gaming PC build from iBUYPOWER.com. Oh, what? Oh, my chain? Oh, I thought someone was going to mention that. Like, you guys know that since I also bought a $1,700 computer, I may as well get a chain before I invest in some stocks because of black people priorities. And also, I'm working on getting a two-tone Hellcat in my driveway. It's going to happen in this next couple years. I promise you that. And now, I know that this is going to be sort of like a long video, or sort of like one of my longer videos I posted in a while besides my Saints Row gameplays. But since there's a lot to talk about, I'm going to break it up into 3 parts and get right to the point. Now, the first part is obviously the introduction, and then the second part, I'm going to talk about my budget, and then probably in the third and fourth part, I'm going to talk about like what I went with for my build and my PC specs, and then in the fifth part or the fourth part, depending on if I have time and how I break this up, like I'm going to be breaking down and getting into some games and running into the in-game benchmarks and truly showing you guys the performance and full potential of my $1,700 gaming PC rig. So out of the way, let's get into this video. Alright, now getting into this video, now there's a lot of things to talk about, but first I'm going to talk about my budget and why I decided to get a gaming PC. Now, my good friend David, shout out to my friend David by the way, he watches my YouTube videos and I've known him for years. Very cool guy, and I would love to share a drink with him one day. But anyways, he noticed that, like, you know, I'm having some problems like getting videos up and everything, and also having trouble like getting games and everything. So he decided to like suggest to me to get a gaming PC. So, and I'm like, can I really afford to do that? And do I really want a gaming PC that badly? And it came down to it, yeah, I did, especially with the work that I'm trying to do and get videos up. So this is what I did. I came up with a budget. Now, my minimum budget that I was gonna spend was $1,000. My max budget was $2,000. Now, I know what you're thinking, like $2,000 is extreme for a gaming PC, especially if it's your first one, and not necessarily, because when you break it down, like you think about what you got to do, what games you want to play, like you also got to think about the CPUs, the graphics cards, and the processors, everything else. So really, I sat down. Now, I decided, okay, I can't go 1,000, I can't go cheap with this, but I can't overspend either. So what I did was I met right down in the middle. I devised a budget for like $1,500 to $1,700 or $1,800, and really I made the final decision to make a $1,700 gaming PC build. And the second problem that I got with that is that how am I gonna get this game PC built? Like, obviously I can build it myself and get the parts for it myself and build it myself, but there's two problems. One, we're in 2021 and graphics cards is becoming more and more scalped as days and days progress. And until NVIDIA and AMD gets a grip on this whole scalping situation, it's almost impossible for me to get a graphics card at retail price or at a good price. And second of all, if I have to go with someone else to build it, am I gonna go with like someone like iBUYPOWER, or am I gonna go with someone that I know? Now, I decided to actually look around, and I was gonna buy a pre-built one, but pre-built ones were getting sold out and more sold out as quarantine gets into like its first year and a quarter almost. So what I did is that I looked through, I came up with like 3 websites. First of all was iBUYPOWER, then the second one was I think cybercomputers.com, I think it was, and then there was other one called Digital Storm, I think it was. I ran through the reviews and iBUYPOWER was my best bet. So I went down and I got through iBUYPOWER and I devised my budget, and also they have a custom PC builder that I'm going to show you guys in a second, and let me bring that up right now. Alright guys, so here it is. We're on the iBUYPOWER site, and obviously I have mine bookmarked. I bookmarked this just so I can come back to it later, and if there's anything that I need to like recheck or like double check or like switch out some parts or change my mind about some parts, like I can do that. So with that out of the way, let's actually get into it. Now, first things first. Now, before I get into my PC specs, now this is the part that I want to talk about. You see this box down here where it says Overwatch. This is where you can see the performance of popular games that most people play when they get gaming PCs. Now, for example, with my gaming PC rig, now obviously this is a little bit different because like there's some parts that got sold out and everything, so really it's a little bit more than what my PC build was, but that's okay. So we're still going to use this as an example. So as an example, now since it's still an i7, mine is an i7 with a 3060 NVIDIA card. Now we're running Overwatch. It can run Overwatch at 310 frames per second at 1080p and also 190 frames per second at just 1440p, which is really insane if you think about it, because most PlayStations and most Xboxes these days can only max out at around 60 FPS anyways, and can sometimes struggle to maintain a steady 60 FPS. So if you also go to another game like Fortnite, it's not really that big of a game, so really it's gonna run more frames, of course, at 300 frames per second at 1080p, and also 1440p at or at 1440p at 120 frames per second. And let's also use another example. So Call of Duty Warzone with Modern Warfare, it can run 175 frames per second at 1080p and 120 frames per second at 1440p. Now the reason why I use this as an example is because let's say if you go down to your video cards. Now let's go down to the video cards or the graphics cards. Now if you go down to the graphics cards, now for example mine was a pre-order item, so I'm gonna get into that in a second, but let's say if you go with a 3060 Ti like I did. Now this is what your stats is gonna look like, and it's a live performance, you know, modular and, you know, monitor as you're building this PC. So let's say if you go with a 3070, it's gonna change. So if you go with a 3070, your frames and obviously everything else is gonna be a lot more than, or it's gonna change than what you previously chose. So for example, this one was at 175 frames per second at 1080p. The 3070 can run 175 frames per second at 135p. So this is stuff that you got to consider when building your own gaming PC and getting a budget and choosing the parts. So you always got to keep this in mind. Alright guys, so here is my official list of like the parts that I got from iBUYPOWER. Now let me just drag myself over here for this. Now here's the whole entire list, so I'm just going to get into it really quickly because this is going to be a longer video. So obviously now the case, as you guys saw, like it didn't have the case that I originally ordered, and that was because it's sold out, I believe. So of course it's going to show different cases, but I went with a front and side temper plated glass RGB gaming case from iBUYPOWER, which comes with 2 fans at the front, a fan at the back, and a fan at the top, as you guys can see from the footage that I took. And for the processor, like I said, I went with an Intel Core i7 because the i5 is good, but the i7 is better at multitasking. So I went with a 10700K processor with 3.880 gigahertz And for the motherboard, I went with an Asus Prime Z490P with Wi-Fi and ARGB headers, and it comes with like 6 or 7 USBs, because I own a lot of like devices and accessories for like my gaming setup that has, you know, USBs, so I had to have that. And for the memory, I went with 16 gigs. I upped my previous you know, stuff to like 16 gigabytes, and my old PC was running at 8 gigabytes, and it was okay. But with the games that I'm running, like Modern Warfare, Fortnite, and GTA, and bigger games like that, and Borderlands, like I'm gonna need more than 8 gigs, and I could have went with 32 gigs, but it would have been overkill, so I decided to go with 16 gigs. Now, for the graphics card, this was the big boy decision that I had to make. Now, I could either fork out a couple extra $1,000 to actually get the 3090, or I can go with a couple $100 more to get the 3070, or I can go with the 3060. Now, I had to get either a really good 20 series or a really good 30 series. Now, I decided to go with the 30 series because it's a little bit more up to date. So I decided to go with the 3060 Ti, the GeForce RTX 3060 Ti 8 gig from MSI. And obviously this was a pre-order item, so it took a little bit longer. But the reason why that happened was because NVIDIA is actually partnered with iBUYPOWER along with Asus, Intel, AMD, etc. So they have direct access to this stuff, but it still takes a little bit of time with Rona on the loose and everything. Now, I decided to throw in an RGB strip in this. I decided to go with a 700 watt power supply, and it's a 880 plus gold series. For the processing cooling, I decided to go with a liquid cooling system, which is RGB from iBUYPOWER, and this was also one of the big decisions I had to make. Now, do I want to go with an SSD, or do I want to go with an HDD, or both? Now, with hard drives, they hold more space, but they're a little bit slower to process up, and the SSDs hold less space, but it's quick to boot up. So it's a trade-off with both. Now, and I actually compared them both, and I'm like, do I really need to wait around an extra 30 seconds, or do I really need to pay extra money so like I can just load up a game 30 seconds less if I get an HDD? So I decided to go with a 3 terabyte Barracuda HDD from the iBUYPOWER site, and really it's working just fine. My computer boots up really quickly, and that's all thanks to the i7, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. And some other stuff about my gaming PC is that it also has Wi-Fi adapters, it has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and a couple other goodies here. And apart from that, that's really about it. It does come with a 3-year standard warranty. Now, that's not insurance, by the way. That's not insurance. So let's say if like one of my nieces came over and spilled something all over my game PC, it's ruined. They can't do anything about it because technically that's my fault, or like I allowed them to be in here, which is fair but sort of unfair at the same time. But what can you do about it? So really the warranty is pretty much like if something happens within the PC and it's not your fault, they can cover it and they can fix it. So really, and that's with the parts that you order, not with parts that you switch out. So like if I decided to go with a different graphics card and switch it out, they can only cover my 3060, they can't cover anything else, but still that's fine. And really that's about it. Now, one thing that I also want to get into before I get into my desktop and my applications that I installed is also my deferred shipping delivery. Now, since I ordered this like a day after my birthday, and that was on a Saturday morning, I believe like what I did is that because of taxes, because like it was like almost an extra $100 in taxes, because this is almost a $2,000 rig that I'm buying. So really, like I decided, okay, the deferred shipping, it can give me 5% off. So really, the 5% off alone took like $100 off, and that really covered the taxes. And it just takes a little bit longer, and it takes like a couple weeks extra than like regular rush shipping. So really, that was fine. And then my total, total was like $1,671.88. But we're just gonna round it out to $1,700. It's still in my $1,700 budget, because technically it was over $1,700, but since with deferred shipping, that brought it down to $1,600 range. So really, that's fine. Now that that's out of the way, I'm going to close this application out. I'm going to close Google Chrome, and we're going to get into my applications and all my desktop icons that I installed. Alright, first of all, let me get this up so you guys can see my beautiful face. Now, there's a couple things I also need to address. Now, there's a couple programs that already come pre-installed. Now, for example, you have the Aura program and the Armory Crate. Now, I'm going to get into these two first. Now, the Aura program is what controls the RGB lights, so let me just get into this real quick. And this application comes up. As you guys can see, it says the motherboard. It detects the motherboard, the RAM, and also the RGB strip that I ordered as well. And I kind of went a little bit overkill with the RGB lights, but still, that's fine. So anyways, you guys can see it on as well. That's why you guys can probably see like the blue aura that's around my body real quick, but let me show you guys. If you go down here, you guys can see like my gaming PC like all lighting up and everything, all lit up. So really that's what it's controlling. Now, for example, if I go to static and then quick apply, like it's just gonna be one direct color. Now, and obviously I can change it. Let's say if I wanted like a bright lime green or something, or like a teal green, I can change it to that. Or if I want like a pink, which pink is actually a pretty good color. I don't understand why people hate on pink so much. So I can change it to that, but I'm just gonna change it back to blue. And there's also stuff like rainbows. So like the rainbow color, but that just pretty much like makes it multicolor at one point, and also changes up the RGB fans as well. And obviously I can change the speed and everything else with this bar down here. You got the color cycle, which is just like the rainbow, but it's just one solid color just changing in a circular clockwise motion. So I'm just gonna change it back to the standard blue that I had and click apply. So with that out of the way, that's what the Aura program is for. Now the Armory Crate, that is to install all the BIOS and everything else. So if I install like something like my Asus drivers and like my Bluetooth drivers, everything is through the Armory Crate. And also another app that came pre-installed was the GeForce experience. Now, since this is a graphics card and the NVIDIA, and I bought the NVIDIA 3060 Ti, they already installed the the GeForce experience and burned it in and everything else, so I didn't have to. So I go into this just controls like what games I got, and it can control like what settings or like max frame rate and everything. So this is important if you get like an NVIDIA or something. Now in terms of like other apps that I installed, I also have stuff like the basic stuff like Telegram, Discord, Rockstar Games Launcher to launch Rockstar titles like GTA 5 and everything else. I got also a VPN. I also installed Steam as well, so I can play some PC games, which Borderlands 2 and 3, great games by the way. Like I'm really in love with the Borderlands series. And I also got stuff like Dark Souls. I got OpenIV so I can mod GTA, which we're gonna get into in a second. And aside from like basic programs like Sony Vegas, obviously to edit my videos, and Photoshop to edit and draw, and also like make thumbnails and everything, I also installed Steam, Telegram, Discord, like I said, and OBS Studio, which is what I'm recording right now, which is why you guys see me looking off to the left and the camera, because I got two monitors. And aside from that, I also installed Google Chrome because nobody uses Windows or like Microsoft Edge anymore because it's not, you know, 2001. But anyways, aside from that, now the last thing I also want to get into is also the control panel that comes with NVIDIA. Now this is what you can control, like the frame rate, you can control the V-Sync, anything that like is hindering your game, you can go into here and then try to fix it. But really every game that I played and tested already runs really good. So there's no reason for me to touch any of this aside from like making max frames or whatever. But aside from that, now that we got everything that's, you know, out of the way with my gaming PC, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get into some games, and we're also gonna test out the benchmarks on all the games that I got installed, or a fair couple games that I got installed. And with out of the way, let's actually get into the games right now. Alright guys, now before I start getting into these games real quick, there's one last program that I forgot to install, and that was the MSI Afterburner program, and let me bring it up right now. So basically what this program is, it keeps up with all your Intel Core clock speeds, it shows you your fan speeds, it shows you your megahertz for everything, for your GPU to your memory to the temperature and everything. So I highly suggest, if you guys have a gaming PC or like any type of rig like this, install the MSI Afterburner program, because you'll be able to keep track with your frames per second. You'll be able to keep track of your temperature to make sure it's not overheating or anything, and pretty much get the overall, you know, money's worth, and check to see if you got your money's worth if you build a PC like I did. So with out of the way, let me just check one thing. Yes, it does. It will appear in the top left hand corner of the screen as I'm playing my games. But out of the way, let's hop into GTA 5 right now.
Hey, you enjoying yourself now, huh?
Alright, so now that we're on the RPCS3 emulator for the PS3, I already got Skate 3 installed. I was also going to get UFC Undisputed 3 and Midnight Club installed because I figured out that you can actually get these on this emulator. But we're going to play Skate 3 for now, so let's get into it.
Yo, you're going to have to get techie on this one. You're going to need to ollie up the ledge, grinder slide the sign, and then pop over the gap. Yo, don't hang up.
Would you move? Jesus, get out of my way! I'm probably gonna have to switch this because I can't get it in the goofy stance. Come on. Come on, we got it this time. Come on. Move, people. Get out of the way. Okay, that's just gonna have to do for now. That's just gonna have to do for now because I was trying to get that blunt slide for old time's sakes, but these freaking people, dude, they can't get out of my way for anything.
Yo, what are you thinking?
And there's also a slight glitch on this. It may just be my game, but for some reason when you try to do the covers or like the photo shoots, like it doesn't, you know, load up properly. Same as the billboards and stuff too. Alright, PS2 emulator time, hump-a-dump. So now that we're on the PS2 emulator, this is where my pride and joy was back in the day growing up as a youngin'. So plug in settings. Now for the PS2 emulator, I am going to be playing on 6x native, which is 4K. And I have what does that say? Anastrophic or anastrophic? I don't know. I didn't graduate college. But anyways, I'm playing on that setting at 16x. So we should be good. I already tested it out in my previous gameplays that I already posted here on the channel and soon to be posted. By the way, let's actually boot the system and boot the ISO. Let's get into some Def Jam. Alright, here we go, baby.
You gonna be crying like a bitch after I get my hands on you, boy.
Boy. I love my boy Luda. I don't like you now. Let's go. Come on, David Banner. Come on, Mr. Am I crooked? Come on, Mr. Am I crooked letter, crooked letter, I? Crooked letter, crooked letter. Come on. There we go. Come on. Come on. No, you don't. All right, get in that crowd. Hold him for me. There we go. Come on. Come on. Screw you. Hold up. Wait. Hold up. Wait. No. No. Get over there. Screw you and your fat farm truck. Nobody even drives Hummers these days. My boy Luda, come on. Let's go. Let's get him out the way. Come on. No, bro. I thought my combo was gonna last a lot longer than that. Come on. No, you don't. Oh my god, I freaking missed my blazing dude. Nope. Get him over there. Alright, throw him on the windshield. Let's go. I ain't gonna miss my blazing this time, boy. Cause I noticed one thing, they freaking run from you. Come on, let's go. Luda got the best blazing on this game, bro, I'm telling you. Come on, he out of here. Let's go.
That's why you always bet on the sure get it south thing.
Alright, first fight of the day, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. I was actually rusty because if you don't practice before you actually get into these fights, dude, you're gonna collapse.
Come boy, you walk with Batman. With fists like these, I don't even gotta pack no heat.
This fight is about to move now. Get ready, people.
Yo, let's get it on.
That wall. Yeah. Oh my god, I had him up against that wall too. Let's go. He's out of here. I just realized he doesn't even have any shoes on.
And I don't do all of that.
He's just like me, bro. Oh my
That
god.
fight is over, people.
But anyways, I hope you guys freaking enjoyed this video, bro. Like, I have no idea what I'm about to say next, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me getting my new gaming PC and everything. You know, a lot of new content is about to come y'all way with this bad boy out, but make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're new. Also, share with your fam, your friends, your uncles, your families, everybody. It helps your boy out. But anyways, make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're new. This your boy Gwop, and I'm out, bro.